His team is ranked #1 in the country,
Whoa.
which means something. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach Ryan Day.
Yeah, coach.
What's up, boys?
Hey, don't even do training camp. You guys are #1 team in the country. Congratulations.
Let's go, coach. Great.
You did it.
Hell yeah.
Every coach in the country wants to be ranked #1 going into the preseason. That's a real big deal.
Everything matters.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
Well,
matters.
when you think about when someone comes to Ohio State, they're coming for different reasons, and what motivates them is their own their own individual motivation. But once they get here, the idea is that you're playing so hard for your teammates. You're playing so hard for Ohio State because of what comes with it, the tradition, the legacy, those that have come before, and the guy next to you. It can't just be about you at that point because that won't sustain, not through a 17-game season.
Yeah, it'll get exposed, and it'll come to light, and it gets very loud, and we see it with teams.
You got a ton of NFL experience in the coaching staff. Artie Smith now comes over. How's it been working with Artie Smith? And then I feel like every year you got another phenomenal wide receiver coming into the building, Chris Henry Jr., making all the damn money in the NFL as well. So tell me about Artie Smith and Chris Jr.
Well, so much of our job is talent acquisition, and that starts with the coaching staff, and then it goes to the players and the roster, which has changed a lot. The way you design a coaching staff is different now. There used to just be 10 assistant coaches and then graduate assistants. Now there's unlimited coaches in college. So it's allowed us to do some different things, and our administration's been great about that and has allowed us to go get guys like Matt Patricia and Arthur Smith. And the thing to me with these guys is they have the pedigree and the resume of coaching in the NFL, and winning playoff games, winning Super Bowls, but more importantly, they wanted to get into the college game. I feel like if you're sort of an NFL guy, you're used to the NFL. If you have to talk somebody into coming to college, it doesn't work. These guys wanted to, and you can see they're highly motivated to do that. And then it trickles down, to the players, and the type of guys that we're bringing in, speaks to the culture and our assistant coaches and the work they're putting in.
Artie do you have a mustache, or is he going to do what maybe he does a Ryan Day beard? Maybe he does Ryan Day beard. What does his face look like right now? Do you know?
He's got a little stash going, that he looks different at different times. It depends on what preseason looks like. So we'll have to see.
You need to know that when the mustache is in full hum,
that's when
things are going great for Artie.
Exactly. #1 offense.
It's literally written on his face.
Yes, it is.
How everything's going. So, and he knows he has a good one, too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, even electric doors open for Artie when he has that mustache. Mm-hmm. And then whenever he doesn't, people are telling him, get out. And so we need him to do that, and I think the Ohio people will love him. I'm excited to see him and Matt Patricia kind of talk to each other. On that note, Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach. Speaking of Matt Patricia, he came in last year and just dominated one of the best college football defenses of all time statistically. And then I was looking at it. So Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, that's last year. Igbinosin last year. And then JTT, Jack Sawyer, just to name like a couple guys who are gone off the last two incredible defenses. You talked about bringing in guys from other places, transfers who have played a lot but kind of need to fill in on that defense. What is it like on that defense now that some of the leaders, a lot of the leaders are gone, and who do you think is going to step up this season?
Yeah, well, it's hard to replace, guys like Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, and Caden McDonald. And the majority of those guys were all 3-year guys. So not only do you lose the production, but like to your point, you lose the leadership. So guys have to step up in a big way. And we had to make sure that the guys that we replaced some of those losses with were guys who were experienced. And so, we did. We went out and got, Quay, Rusa and James Smith and John Walker in the portal up front. We picked up Christian Allegro, who these guys have played a lot of football. Earl Little, we picked up Terry Moore. And so I think there's 8 guys on defense who have had a lot of experience, and so they're going to have to step up. But the guys who are returning, they're the ones that know the culture best. So, Kenyatta Jackson has got to have a big year for us. He's got to really step up. Peyton Pierce, who played a bunch, at linebacker with Sonny and Arvell last year, has had a really good spring and off season. So he's one of the guys that we're counting on. Jalen McClain, who played back there last year, we're counting on him as well. And then Jermaine Matthews is someone that, again, has played a lot of football. So some of those guys who, again, weren't starters, like, for instance, you didn't know much about Arvell going into last year, but he had played a lot the year before. Some of these guys have played. They just weren't starters. So they're going to have to take the next step. But that's typical of Ohio State. I mean, we lose guys every year, but we gotta make sure these guys understand that it starts from the first play, and it's going to last all the way to January 25th. That's probably the biggest thing for us.
Sorry, I just heard you do an interview. I think it was on CBS podcast that you asked Caleb Downs about a lot of your transfers coming in. Like, how important is that in the NIL era and transfer era? Like, that you use players that know other players on which guys you're bringing in?
Well, we all expect every year to be in the hunt, and one of the top teams in the country in terms of our talent, and have a chance to win the national championship every year. So if that's the case, the culture has to stay strong, and we can't have dips. And so one of the things for us when we bring these guys into the portal, because that typically is done to fill holes. Every coach will tell you they want to recruit and retain. We're the same way. But when we fill these guys in, the more information that we can get, the better. And to your point, Caleb played with Earl, played with Quay, played with James at Alabama's freshman year. And so he knew those guys, knew their character. And some of the other guys, like Kyle Parker, had played for Cortez Hankton. Terry had played for McAfee. So there was guys that we knew of. So it just eliminates the best you can, having somebody that doesn't fit the culture.
Yeah, all the information you can potentially gather from everybody is good, so you don't have to pay the wrong people.
Yeah.
Speaking of people getting paid, wide receivers out of your school are doing A-okay. I don't know if you've seen these numbers, okay? This is absurd. When Saban was done, they did a math equation on the amount of money that his players have made. And then we were talking to Coach Calipari. Yeah. Coach Calipari in, obviously, college hoops. He talked about, I want to change like 12 more families or something, 12 more families' lives because of the deals that they get. You guys are becoming a factory, okay, of NFL talent. And that's a lot of hard work. That doesn't just happen. Everybody says, well, they have support from this. A lot of schools do. So creating that's a big deal. But whenever you see your guys go and get paid, and obviously you talk about the culture and passing it on, for you, there has to be a sense of pride, right? Like there has to be some sort, like how do you feel about the ex-Ohio State Buckeyes having massive success financially and also professionally? I mean, they're showing Sonny Styles is already blowing people up. Caleb's already blowing people up. Everything's seemingly.
Tate.
Marvin's now catching. I mean, everything's kind of happening. For you, what is that feeling with guys that leave the Buckeyes, especially in what seems to be a transactional world that we're in? Like Caleb calling you and wanting to be a part of that, that feels cool because obviously Caleb didn't spend his entire career there. For you, watching this all happen post, what is it like for you and how do you kind of treat it and deal with it, if you will?
Well, I think when you get into the offseason, you have a little bit of time to sort of sit and think about exactly what you're talking about. And there's really one reason why most of us get into coaching. I'm sure some guys are motivated different ways, but to me, the reason why you get into coaching is to have an impact on people. And we decide what level we want to get into, based on our personalities and what we want. And just so happened, we chose Ohio State. And I say that to everybody in the room, whether it's the coaches, the players, the administrator, like we chose Ohio State. So you know what that means? We got to win them all. And that's the expectation. And that's how it works. But along the way, winning just allows us an opportunity to continue to have an impact on these guys' lives. And so to see going through the recruiting process, talking to these families about here's what we're going to do. It's not going to be easy, but if you make it through and you do things the right way, here are the examples. And now we have testimony.
Yeah, testimony, and the people that don't want you to win just cut you off completely.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, they just cut. As soon as you got done there, they just completely cut you off. But I love that because I'm now getting to know Saban and Miss Terry. It's like you can see the genuine fulfillment and joy whenever you talk about one of their ex-players getting a new deal or, because they saw them and met them whenever life was vastly different for everything. And then watch them battle bad decisions, good decisions, bad times, good times, and all of it. And then to watch you, that has to be awesome for you. And now you've been in a lot, you got gray in that beard.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You got an old man. Go ahead.
I got actually, you look at that list, and the first person that jumps at me, guy that played with us, Brian Hartline. He came back. He was obviously at Ohio State for a long time. Now he's a head coach at USF, which I'm sure you take great pride in as well. But like, who has stepped? Because I'm not familiar. Who has stepped up in that role now as the wide receiver coach? Because that is
and recruiter though too, and
recruiting,
Florida.
Development, all that thing is very important. So who's stepped up in that role over at Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, Brian, as you know, did an unbelievable job, and not only was a great player here, was a great player in the NFL, but did an unbelievable job recruiting and developing. But when we're at Ohio State, you get to go hire the best. I remember when I was one of my first recruiting meetings. I was the quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, and Urban Meyer was the head coach here. And we walked in, and the recruit and the family says, "Well, we really like Coach Day, but what happens if he leaves?" And I thought Coach should say, well, no, he's going to be here for a long time. You don't need to worry about that. He just said, we'll just go get the next best guy out there. Around here. So that's what we had to do. We got to go get the next best guy out there. The great news for us is we were able to do that. And the reputation of the room and the type of guys and the tradition, we were able to bring in Cortez Hankton. And Jeremiah and Brandon had a lot of feedback on that. And it's been great so far. And he's been great to work with. But he knows he's got big shoes to fill, but he's excited about that.
I'll tell you, Jeremiah being a Buckeye, he's a South Florida Broward County Hall of Famer.
Feels like the big thing of this offseason with college football is the Protect College Sports Act. How much of that is on your radar when you're talking to these kids, knowing that there is, potential probable changes on the horizon when it comes to recruiting and, how everything works?
Every year it's like there's more and more different areas that you got to be versed in. And this really, a lot of it comes down to politics, going through the Senate, going through the House. And there's a lot that goes with it. So, Tony Petiti, our commissioner, does a great job of keeping us in the loop. And then Ross, our athletic director, does the same thing. They ask a lot of questions of recruits, try to figure out what's going on. There's some things that are in the bill that I think we all feel pretty strongly about, some other things that we need to keep working through. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be leave college football in a better place than it is right now. But we all know we got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do. We all have a lot of work to do on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. You have to go build a brand new team.
That's right.
A lot of similar pieces, brand new team, new vibe. And I would say you could probably take the first couple weeks off. You're already number one.
Yeah.
You put that coach's poll back up. Look at that, Ryan. Hey!
It's over.
Wow.
We did it.
Undefeated.
Good season,
Wow.
Coach.
Some good teams on that list right there.
Yeah, 8 of them from the Big Ten, 9 from the SEC. The depth of football is certainly becoming very real. We cannot wait to watch your team this year. Thank you for joining us, and good luck.
All right, boys, you guys are the best. Thanks.
Head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ryan Day.
Yeah, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Try to knock me off my feet, still standing with more money than I came with. Hot damn, took a loss, but I'm still up. Gambling man, betting all the chips that I got left.